Imagine you're behind the wheel of a $250,000 G-Wagon, deep in the dunes of the Arabian desert. It's the pinnacle of German engineering, triple locking differentials, a twin-turbo V8, and enough computing power to run a small city. Then, the horizon disappears. A massive sandstorm hits. Fine, abrasive silica begins to clog the high-performance air intakes. The radiators, struggling against the 120-degree heat, start to redline. The fine dust penetrates the electrical seals, and suddenly, your million-dollar masterpiece of human innovation enters limp mode before finally shivering to a halt. You are stranded. But as the dust swirls around your windshield, you see a silhouette moving effortlessly through the gale. It's a dromedary camel. It isn't surviving the storm, it's designed for it. While your SUV's engine is seizing, the Camel's biological systems are just getting started. It doesn't need a radiator, it doesn't need air filters, and it hasn't had a drink in 10 days. In the modern world, we've been told this is just a beast of burden. But when you look at the specs, you realize the truth. This isn't just an animal. It is a biological all-terrain vehicle that thrives exactly where human technology hits a dead end. We are about to step inside a masterclass of precision engineering. Welcome to the Proof Vault. Subscribe, because this episode might just change the way you see camels in the desert. To understand why your SUV failed and the Camel didn't, we have to look at the specs. In engineering, the biggest enemy in the desert isn't just the heat, it's the friction. Think about your vehicle's windshield. In a sandstorm, the glass becomes pitted and opaque. The wipers only make it worse by dragging grit across the surface. The Camel solves this with a piece of hardware that engineers are still trying to perfect, the nictitating membrane. This is a transparent third eyelid that moves horizontally across the eye. It acts like a high-tech specialized dust seal on a professional DSLR lens. It clears debris while allowing the Camel to maintain full visibility. Combine that with a double row of interlocking, Velcro-like eyelashes that filter out 99% of airborne particles, and you have a biological optical system that outperforms any aerospace sensor. Even the ears are lined with dense internal hair filters, an air intake system that never clogs. But the most misunderstood piece of equipment is the hump. Forget the childhood myth that it's filled with water. From a thermodynamic perspective, it's much more brilliant. It's a concentrated mound of fibrous fat. In a luxury SUV, engineers struggle with heat soak, where the engine's heat gets trapped under the hood. Most mammals have a layer of fat distributed across their entire body, which acts like a thick wool sweater, trapping heat inside. If a camel did that, it would cook from the inside out. Instead, by packaging all its fat into one vertical hump, the camel uses it as a solar shield. The fat absorbs the sun's radiation from above, while the rest of the body is left lean and thin, allowing heat to escape freely through the skin. It is a masterpiece of thermal management. It's the difference between a car with a malfunctioning radiator and a data center with a dedicated cooling tower. Every inch of this exterior isn't just flesh, it's structural armor. But the real genius isn't just how the Camel handles the heat outside, it's how it manages the fuel inside. In your SUV, when the coolant is gone, the engine is dead. In the desert, water is the ultimate currency, and the Camel is the most sophisticated accountant on the planet. It starts with every single breath. When a human breathes in the desert, we lose massive amounts of moisture through our lungs. The Camel, however, has an internal water recycler in its snout. Deep inside the nasal cavity are scroll-like structures called turbinates. These act exactly like energy recovery ventilators, ERVs, used in modern green skyscrapers. The Camel's nose does this with moisture. It cools the exhaled air, causing the water vapor to condense back into liquid right inside its nose, where it's reabsorbed. It's a self-sustaining loop that prevents the animal from breathing away its life. Even more radical is the blood itself. If a human loses 12% of their body water, our blood becomes thick and sludgy. The heart struggles to pump the syrup-like fluid, and organ failure follows. But look at the camel's red blood cells under a microscope. While every other mammal has circular cells, the camels are oval. This is a masterclass in fluid dynamics. This oval shape allows the cells to keep flowing through tiny capillaries even when the blood is severely thickened. And when the camel finally finds water, it can drink 30 gallons in minutes. Any other creature's blood cells would explode under that sudden osmotic pressure. The camel's oval cells, however, are elastic. They can expand to 240% of their original size without bursting. It's like having a fuel tank that can double in size. Then, there are the kidneys. To survive, most mammals have to flush nitrogenous waste, urea, out of their systems using a constant stream of water. The camel doesn't waste a drop. Its kidneys are tuned to reabsorb water so aggressively that their urine is as thick as maple syrup. But here is the impossible part. They can actually recycle their own waste. Instead of flushing urea out, they divert it back to their stomachs, where specialized bacteria turn that waste back into new protein. This is a closed-loop life support system. It is the exact same technology NASA engineers spent billions to develop for the ISS, recycling every ounce of waste into a reusable resource. The camel isn't just surviving the desert. It is a walking, breathing space station. But even with a perfect engine and a recycling plant inside, you still need to be able to move. In the desert, the ground itself is your enemy. As any off-roader knows, once your tires lose their footprint and start digging into the sand, the journey is over. Your SUV relies on high-pressure rubber tires, which concentrate all that weight into 4 small patches. The result? You sink. The camel uses a different approach: adaptive footprints. Each foot is a massive, flexible pad of fatty tissue. When the foot hits the ground, it doesn't just stay rigid. It expands. By increasing its surface area, the camel drastically lowers its PSI. It's the same engineering principle behind wide tread tires or the snowshoes used by Arctic explorers. The camel is floating on top of the fluid-like sand, while your luxury SUV is spinning its wheels into an early grave. It is stability by design, not by force. Finally, we have the most advanced energy-saving strategy of all: adaptive hyperthermia. Humans are obsessed with 37 degrees. The moment our temperature moves even a degree higher, our brain triggers a coolant leak, sweating to dump heat. In the desert, that's a death sentence. You're throwing away your water to stay cool. The camel has a smart thermostat. It doesn't fight the heat, it stores it. At night, its body temperature drops to a chilly 34 degrees. As the sun rises and the desert bakes, the camel doesn't sweat. It allows its own body to act as an industrial buffer tank, soaking up the heat until its temperature reaches 41 degrees. Only then, at the absolute peak of the day, does it start to cool down. It's a biological delay strategy. By the time it reaches its limit, the sun is already setting. This saves gallons of water that a human would have wasted in the first 2 hours. It is energy management at a level that would make a Silicon Valley engineer envious. Let's be honest with ourselves. As skeptics, we pride ourselves on following the evidence wherever it leads. We look at a G-Wagon and recognize the thousands of hours of human intellect poured into its chassis. We look at the International Space Station and marvel at the engineering required to recycle waste into life. But when we look at the Camel, a biological machine that outperforms our best desert tech in every single metric, we are told to believe it is the result of a blind process, a series of happy accidents. Does that actually sound scientific to you? Or does it sound like an excuse? If you were to see these same systems, the thermal buffers, the elastic blood cells, the ERV nasal structures, sketched out on a blueprint in a Silicon Valley lab, you would call it a work of genius. You wouldn't deny the creator, you'd try to hire them. So how do you explain the desert man? 400 years ago, a man standing in the middle of a pre-scientific wasteland, without a microscope, without a lab, without a clue about fluid. dynamics or molecular biology, produced a text that didn't just mention the camel, but commanded us to scrutinize its creation. Do they not look at the camel, how it was created? How did he know? How could a mind from the 7th century point to the one creature that holds the most advanced biological patents we are only now uncovering? If this was just ancient guesswork, why is the science so pinpoint accurate today? You can deny the message, but how can you deny the engineering standing right in front of you? The evidence isn't hidden, it's walking across the sand. This is Proof Vault, where science and history meet knowledge. Subscribe, because the next episode might just change the way you see science.